the insurance industry wherein you don't get results every day, and it's a very long drawn process, and which creates a lot of stress. By doing meditation, the stress level becomes zero.
After doing this course, I've learned a lot of things. I've started being very calm. When I get up, usually I would be like very tense, a lot of stress. But now when I get up, I have always a smile on my face. I always have a positive word when I get up. That is the best thing which I experience every morning now after doing meditation.
I've been struggling for past 5 to 6 years, because of our belief systems. There wasn't clarity about certain important decisions that I had to make in my life. And during this 40 days, I realized that this is it. And I think I'm able to make that decision. So I'm very, very grateful for that clarity.
For me, meditation has been that thing that calmed my mind, cleansed me out of those fears of anxiety of the future, right? And also helped me connect to my intuition. We all call meditation is not a technique, meditation is a practice.
I was not able to sleep and I wake up in between my sleep. But yesterday when I meditate before sleeping, it was a very peaceful sleep. Like my overthinking is decreasing day by day. I think positive in every aspect. I have an anxiety issue earlier, but now it decreases.
Happy morning and happy evening, friends and masters. Welcome, a very warm welcome to each one of you in this presence program. And for those of you who are joining us for the first time in this program, my name is Jayashree. I'll be your host for today. So just wanted to share my very brief experience about my meditation, how it was. I would not say benefits, but losing many of the things which are unwanted in me and towards everyone near me through meditation. So I did not enter this path with clarity or any kind of confidence, but I just entered it with curiosity. So maybe around 10 or 11 years of age. So I asked too many questions, like the inner chatter was always going on. Why are we here? Why me? Why this happened to me? Why? What is the truth? Why do we suffer? A lot of questions, just curiosity. And that curiosity just slowly grew into search, and used to attend a lot of sessions, meditation, wherever I hear the word, not quite of online sessions we had that time. So I used to go and listen to masters and read books which I got from my grandfather and hear from him about many guru stories. And he used to have posters of them in his room. And all this eventually, it just went into a longing for something deeper. And of course, like a regular, any what we do, just concentrated. I was just concentrating on my studies, on my career a lot, and doing less of meditation. But for past 6 years, there's been a very deep practice. And all the way, the practice, how much ever, the little time I did also, I know it helped me a lot with gaining the confidence within me and manifesting what I want. Though unknowingly I was doing everything, but it was all happening. and the root was getting formed. The roots were becoming very stronger and stronger. Now I realized that now the awareness is there more. And I should say 6 years ago, without telling my mother, I quietly signed up for the Vipassana retreat, and I went because many in my family would never accept, why this is needed for you, or they had this fear that I would leave everything and go away, sitting on top of the mountains or inside a cave and meditating. So that is all a myth. Many of us also, before coming into this journey, would have that, right? So then after I came back, I told her, and of course I had to hear a lot from her, but now she's a regular and sincere meditator. So what I would like to say is, your energy, when you raise your vibration and you go into that higher energy states, that will spread, and everyone around you will understand you too. So this is for many of you who think, okay, I'm doing it, but there is no support system for me. So yes, heartfelt gratitude to everyone, my family, friends, everyone who support me in this journey a lot. And because of that, I'm able to do whatever I can as a service. So, but I didn't know what I was looking for when I just felt like there was a deep calling that I have to go, and I went, and it was a very, very profound experience for me. And then the breakthrough came when I attended the quantum creation workshop here in Abu Dhabi by my dear mentor, Chandra sir. So I met Vani ma'am, Chandra sir there, and I went through all the sessions, because then my analytical mind was at peace, because the scientific explanation just gave me deeper satisfaction, that contentment, and I started trusting the process actually only from that time 100%. So, and that retreat, the quantum creation and few other sessions from the foundation became a turning point. It was a breakthrough for me. And this was all not because suddenly I became wise or very calm and uh, just being a perfect, nothing like that. Because that was the first time I started experiencing that silence strong enough to show me my own mind, my own limiting beliefs. The awareness was in plenty, and to show me what I really need in my life and what can give me contentment, not just satisfaction. So then over time, my practice intensified. And yes, I started experimenting a lot, doing little long hours of meditation, or just reprogramming limiting beliefs. Everything was an experiment and exploration for me. Reading more about the concepts, whatever I was hearing from masters. Then the more answers started coming from within. And it was not just like words or clarity, it was that intuition feeling, and following that feeling too. Sometimes you need to come out of that comfort zone to follow that feeling, which I started experimenting. I was never a person who will go and come out of the comfort zone and do something with complete confidence, but that transformation happens slowly. The new way of seeing life itself. And as a family, yes, we had a major test when my husband was diagnosed with an autoimmune acute condition. We went to many specialists here in Dubai, and we consulted many doctors in India too. But it was just, but the meditation practice itself, I stayed calm, and I was very positive that he's going to be completely all right. He'll be healed. That intuition was there. without this practice, I would be completely broken that time. Because of my childhood, the experience, I formed a belief system that the fear of losing someone, I had this fear. So because of meditation practice, I was able to overcome that, and with complete confidence, and I was able to give him that complete moral support. And every doctors we went, they said, here, you have to live, this will be a lifelong condition for you. There is no medication for this. So then he started learning meditation. Though he was observing me doing and all this, but he was not into the practice. And then the meditation, the wisdom, and that inner alignment. And within 8 to 10 months, I've seen this day in and day out, he completely healed his condition. The reports, the doctors were surprised. And that experience strengthened our trust in this path even more than anything else. And yes, the last few months have been very, very extraordinary for me, especially because I have a feeling that something is accelerated. The learning, clarity, inner shifts, there is a lot of learning going on this few months. Because they say, right, when you are a meditator and our karmic patterns feel like they are unwinding at a pace that I would never imagine. I've heard this, but I'm experiencing that. Yes, there is lot of learning. There is lot of tests going on, but I'm also enjoying the process. There is a sense of being, just guided and held by something deeper. So what I would like to say is, when we take, what is my learning greatly is when we take one sincere step inward, life takes 10 steps towards us. That is my great learning. And these few months, of course, the very, very subtle feelings of that I, right? Yes, and of getting carried away with illusion, very, very subtle. Sometimes it is very, you're unknowingly this happens, that deeper layers are getting dissolved, I feel. And with that, my heartfelt gratitude, definitely for our inspiration, Pitama Brahmashri Patriji, and my heartfelt gratitude to my dear mentor Chandra sir and Vani ma'am, and our very dearest mentor Karthikeyan sir, for always, for giving us this platform so beautifully and very structured way, and very easy for us to access any resource in the foundation. I met many masters, but he's someone who doesn't say, you are one, we are all one among each other, we are all of the same conscience. He truly implements what he says. So that is what I look up to him as. And whenever there has been any kind of, little bit of that Maya illusion strikes you, right? We are just energy beings, but having a human experience now and then. Without me saying anything, they would call and just ask, hope all is fine. And I would get, or just like that, I would just get my answers from them, and many other masters too. And really grateful to all the masters and whom I interact with the team, and each and every masters in the foundation or outside the foundation, because I'm just learning from every one of them. When you're very, very receptive, there is always a learning. Even from a 2-year-old, you will be learning. 1-year-old, you'll be learning. but you need to have, you need to be receptive. You need to let those frequency match and the signals come into you for your greater good too, and for others. So that is how I see myself, and this is my brief saying of my journey. So heartfelt gratitude for listening to me.
I'm into a field which is insurance.
Beautiful sharing. Amazing master. Yeshu Madam from Dubai. There's so much to learn. Beautifully spoke about one thing that, and if you want to take it, many things we want to take, but one thing that I understood and what you mentioned, there is meditation helps us to look at our subconscious, our deeper self. During our life, we get so caught up in our outer environment. A lot of what we are, we don't recognize. But meditation helps us to see that our inner true self. And that is the time of, so she spoke about it as a breakthrough moment when she was able to recognize and look at all the fears, all the limitations, because the moment the awareness comes is when you start your transformational journey. Awareness helps to recognize, say, hey, where is it that I'm limiting myself? So wonderful, friends. So let's start our meditation today. This week we talk about emotional intelligence. Essentially, to recognize meditation can significantly transform our relationship. Emotional regulation is a significant part of how we deal with our day-to-day life. So we'll understand this week. We'll understand with a few concepts of learning to doing to being. How do we transform ourselves? How do we change our relationship? It's not the outer world that's changing. Our relationship change starts with us. So we'll understand many of these concepts this week too, and a beautiful set of concepts and a learning which helped me significantly understand myself in the context of my relationship. And of course, the relationship transforms with these understandings. So let's go into meditation. Then we'll come back and understand through some of the neuroscience principles how we learn, how we transform our energy, and so on. Right? So we do what is called as breath mindfulness meditation for those of you who are new. Very simple, very easy to practice. And the process is very, very simple. Can we have the slide, please? Where we sit comfortably in our either on the sofa or on the chair or yes. So close our eyes. So if you're wearing specs, please remove them. We don't need it for meditation. And then observe your simple natural breath. The whole goal is to empty our mind, but by not controlling our thoughts, but by naturally observing our simple breath. And as we observe our breath, we experience that emptiness. We go into emptiness as our mind becomes empty. And when there is thoughts, all we do is bring back your attention to the breath. And we do this as much as we need to. Every time we recognize we are thinking, we bring back our attention to the breath. That's how we are doing. We are not trying to force ourselves into emptiness. We're not trying to control our thoughts. We're not trying to analyze our thoughts. It's a myth to say that if you are having thoughts, you are not meditating. Thoughts are very much part of the process. All we are doing is training our mind to bring back our attention to the breath. And we do that as much, and we continue to do it. There's no other process. We do this, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. It's still the same process. All right. And then we do add-on process in the beginning just to help us to move into coherence called heart elevation process. And the way to do is by paying attention to our heart, taking some deep, relaxing breath, and bringing up those elevated emotions like love, gratitude, compassion, because these elevated emotions elevates our energy, helps us to connect with everything and everybody. If you are in lower emotions, you don't connect because you feel that separateness. But with that higher emotions like love, gratitude, compassion, we always connect. We experience that oneness with everyone, right? So and that's a way to bring it into coherence. So we do that. If you're not able to bring up emotions just like that, all you have to do is recognize or any event in the future. So you experience that and spend some time, the guidance will continue. And after a few minutes, we go into breath mindfulness meditation, friends. So relax.
Dear friends, dear masters, with a great intention to connect with ourselves, I'd like you to keep your hands on your chest area and with your eyes closed, specs removed, rest your attention on your beautiful heart, and with a relaxing breath, connect with your heart center. With that slow, relaxing breath, connect with the center of all emotions, which is nurturing all life. With its higher vibrations, your heart center, the seat of all emotions. Feel it. Connect with your heart center. Feel the beat, the rhythm of this loving heart, which is constantly helping you experience life greatly with its emotions of love, compassion, kindness, gratitude, joy. Can you move yourself into a higher emotion by simply imagining or bringing up an experience from your past of love, of joy, of gratitude, of compassion? Relive that moment and feel that energy and allow yourself to direct that energy onto everything and everyone on this planet to help them heal, to help them elevate their understanding of life. Relive that moment and feel that energy and allow yourself to spread that energy to everything and everyone by making an intention. Where you place your attention, there you place your energy. Feel. We are all deeply interconnected. Deep inside, we are specks of energy, intricately connected with each other. Love, compassion, kindness, joy are all the ways to experience that connection, to move into coherence between body, mind, and this energy, the field. Feel. And slowly, let's go into breath mindfulness meditation. With your fingers into fingers, hands comfortably rested in your lap. Resting your attention at the root of your nose or anywhere on the nose. Observe your normal, natural in-breath and the out-breath at that point. We are going into powerful group meditation. Observe your natural in-breath and the out-breath. No sounds in the mouth, no forms of any kind in the mind. Meditation is not imagination, is not visualization. Meditation is to empty the mind, observe the breath, and allow yourself to slowly notice the mind becoming less and less of thought. Calming, relaxing. As your mind is becoming empty, allow yourself to go into that emptiness, calmness inside of you, all around you. That's energy. When the mind becomes empty, all that energy is channelized into the present moment. Allow yourself to merge into your breath. And allow yourself to experience that greater calmness, emptiness. All emptiness is energy. This is the limitless field of energy, the quantum field of existence. The longer you stay connected to this field of emptiness, the more you resting your mind, the more you dissolve your past. The longer you are in this emptiness energy and blackness, the more aware you become, the more mindful you become, and be in the present. earlier, less matter, more emptiness and energy. The longer you stay merged into this field of emptiness, the more insightful you become, the more miraculous experiences you draw into your life, the more meaningful experiences you influence in your physical reality. Stay aware of that emptiness, the darkness, the field of no body, of no thing, the field of light. This is your greater mind. The more you are in this field of emptiness, the more inspired you become, the more intuitive you become. Friends, it's truly an honor and privilege to be exploring higher aspects of life at this time of history. Many are not so blessed. Can you express gratitude to all things and everyone? Express your gratitude to your parents for giving this beautiful connection to life. Be grateful to your teachers and mentors for expanding your knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge leads to many newer experiences. Give thanks to everyone in your life, your family, friends, colleagues, relatives, partners, for helping you learn many things, for helping you experience many things in life. Be deeply grateful to this beautiful nature, the mineral kingdom, the plant kingdom, the animal kingdom, the angelic kingdom, for filling our lives with inspiration, beauty, energy, and more. Give thanks to everything you use, the technology, all the companies, government systems that support and make our life so comfortable. Gratitude to yourself for caring for you, for caring for others, and gratitude to this intelligent universe for helping us experience this life. Gratitude is the ultimate state of receivership.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed.
Recollect your experiences from the session. How did you feel? What did you see? What have you experienced? Whenever you're ready, with your hands on your eyes for 5 seconds, you may open your eyes.
Okay, friends. Hope you had a wonderful meditation. Emotional intelligence the key components being the emotional regulation is considered one of the most important factor in somebody's growth in their career, in their work life, because studies have shown, which says take any profession, even among the professions which needs profession, researcher, or any other intellectual professions, any profession, even there, the key success factor is considered is emotional intelligence. IQ comes much later because any of what we do comes with how we interact with the people around us and how we present what we accomplish. Even as scientists or a highly technical person, for example, I have been from IT profession where I seen a lot of technology, people who are hardcore technologists, but for them to grow truly is when they are able to present to others in a way that others can accept it. Whatever that I do, I may create a greatest invention, but if I'm not able to present it in a way that others can see the benefit out of it, then whatever that I create is only useful that much. So emotional intelligence is considered, and this is a lot of studies on it. In fact, if you read Daniel Goleman, who coined this, the Harvard psychologist, and who's done a lot of research on emotional aspects. Emotional intelligence is fundamentally very, very important in how we grow, both as an individual as well as professionally. A lot of our relationships suffer because we are not able to handle our emotions. Something triggers, we just can't handle it. So meditation is a great, great tool. And we'll talk about this. But it all starts with curiosity, not having any prejudgment about what meditation can do or cannot do. Of course, I had a lot of myths to overcome. But as Jeshri Madam said, the turning point came when I realized I knew very little and I wanted to explore, see if it is true, recognize if I can experiment and learn for myself what is, whatever that is I'm listening or learning. So let's understand how neuroscience, the quantum physics, really come together to develop great emotional balance, emotional understanding. Because fundamentally, the ability to have great relationships comes when you have able to manage, deal with the emotions. Let me share a few slides as I talk about some of the key aspects of emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence essentially starts with self-awareness and self-regulation. How do we regulate our emotions? How do we become aware of our own emotions? That is the first aspect. 5 components we'll talk about in the subsequent days, but it is a key aspect. Lawrence, the co-founder of Thasio Quantum Foundation, she's a very, very successful business leader. However, she said this, and I and of course I can resonate with it. IQ can get you a job, but the EQ is one which help you grow in your career, right? Because emotional intelligence is one, skill that is exhibited by all, great leaders. It leads to better decision making, builds a great relationship with your colleagues, with your family, with your neighbors, right? So the meditation helps us to build that awareness. It significantly, one of the first benefit of meditation, if I can call that, is to build awareness. Slowly we start observing more about our own thoughts, our own emotions, our own environment. Second, it builds a lot of clarity, a lot of focus. And finally, it leads to a lot of emotional regulation in our activity in amygdala significantly it gets regulated. So emotions are a state of our energy. David Hawkins, mapped all different emotions into a logarithmic scale, 1 to 1,000. And all lower emotions are given lower energy states. You feel great, you feel energetic when you're happy, when you're joyous, when you're more contented. But when you're angry, when you are afraid, when you exhibit a lot of fear, shame, you're always low on energy. So quantum physics, of course, says the reality is influenced by our observation, and observation creates energy to matter. The whole manifestation science that we spoke about, to create anything, we need to to be in a higher energy state. And we learned last week, by bringing up and deeply experiencing those emotions, we are manifesting much faster. So let's understand the shift of energy is essentially a way to change our reality. The more we are in a state of higher emotions, the more we are creating from that much faster. We are attracting, we are an electromagnetic being. Our state of being is essentially based on the energy that we are, the state of energy that we are in. Now, for us to shift our energy to a higher emotion, first we have to have a significant awareness of our emotions. A lot of people say, when I come into meditation, then I'm becoming angrier. I see that I'm getting angry, or I'm just exhibiting a lot of emotions. So it looks like meditation is not working for me. But what I realized is, it's not that they're not, we are becoming more emotional. It's that we are becoming more aware of our emotions. Because that is a great gift. The awareness of emotions is when we can change our responses. Consciously, we can shift our emotions. If I'm talking to my wife and suddenly something triggers, right? That's how our interactions happen. Something that gets triggered and you start boiling, you start getting angry and saying, or you just can't, and you start exploring and exploding in a way that you can't take back. But then with meditation, that the moment you are shifting emotions are happening, either positively or negatively, you start becoming aware, and you have a response, you have a ability to change your response at that time. So the shift in energy is possible first with awareness. And the way to build awareness is meditation, friends. Meditation is the greatest tool that is available with us to significantly improve our awareness. And the moment our awareness is increased with the right wisdom, we can shift our responses and hence have a greater outcome. So instead of you're meeting your boss or colleague and you feel they don't support you, or you have that mindset, next time you meet, you start you're recognizing that you are going to the same mode, the same emotions of feeling frustrated. And at that point in time, you shift your energy and say, can I look at it from a different perspective? Maybe that person, I'm not expressing it in the right way. If I share this in a different way, maybe they'll understand differently. If our thoughts create reality, works as a manifestation, our relationships and the way we interact can also change with that. So essentially, meditation and wisdom helps us to change our outcome in terms of our emotions. So let's understand, right? Now, how do we go through this process? Because today, 3 weeks, 4 weeks into practice, somebody will say, I'm still, I feel angry or feel frustrated. I have a lot of negative emotions. Now we have to understand that there is a process. There's something called learning to do into being. For us to change our state of energy or shift our vibrations or the state of being, first we have to learn something new. Like learning, for example, you're learning to drive a car. First day when you get into a car, you don't necessarily drive smoothly out of the in traffic, do we? First, it seems so complex, so many things to look at. Everything seems like a very complex. But you learn. You first observe. You start learning. Looking to your side, to your mirrors, and seeing how to change a gear or how to hold your hand on the steering wheel, where to accelerate, how to brake. You first learn, you observe. And somebody tells you how to do it, you observe it. So you're learning. And then you start doing it. And the first time you do, it's not necessary that you become an expert on that day. So you learn, you make some mistakes, but you are learning. You're seeing how to do it right. Slowly you are able to turn your direction based on how much to turn the steering wheel to turn the car. You slowly understand how to move, how to brake, how to accelerate. All of it slowly you start learning. And you do it consistently, do it over and over and over again. And one fine day, you don't even realize. Today, if you've been driving for some time, you may not even remember when you put a brake or when you accelerate. It happens naturally because that your state of being has changed. So for us, when I want to change our relationship, the way I handle my emotions, I first look at, okay, if somebody is telling me something, somebody is interacting in a way that is not acceptable to me. Most of the conflicts come when I don't agree in somebody else's opinion, and I'd like to put my opinion as a right opinion. I do not want to listen to somebody because we feel we are superior, or we feel inferior, and we feel I cannot put, get my point across to somebody else. Both ways work. So conflicts come, so there is no way we can work, and then you start making assumptions about that other person. So everything is based on an learning that we have had in the past. You had a difficult colleague or a difficult boss. You had some very unpleasant conversation, or you had put across your project or some opinion, and the boss rejected. You felt deeply hurt or rejected. So then that learning in the past, you have made it so deep because those emotions is what has helped you experience that incident, and if you take it deeply and you start believing that is true, that the boss does not agree, he or she is not supporting me. Start that belief. So next time you meet, you carry with that, and you stop interacting in a way that you go from your past experience. However, now you have a new learning. You read a book or listen to this, that every situation is neutral. It makes it good or bad based on the meaning that we give. Now we hear that sentence. Now, there was a Harvard study, Harvard Business Review article, which spoke about this. Every situation is neutral. It is good or bad for us, or right or wrong for us, based on the meaning that we give for it. You understand? It's a very, very powerful statement. Realize that the control of how we take that any situation is up to us. Now you learn this, you take this, and next time you meet your colleague or your boss, and you say, past is past. Today that person has changed. So let me listen to him or her, or let me put my point across. I have a great idea. Instead of thinking that bosses, will reject because of what happened in the past, today is a different day. Today is a different situation, different environment. So I may have misunderstood last time, but let me put it across now in a different way. Now you put it across, situations might have a different outcome, and you feel happy, you feel good. So there is something that you have implemented differently, and there is a different outcome. So you do slowly learn. You no longer feel rejected. The emotional trigger is no longer there. So the whole process of learning to doing to being is how we change our state. So let me put this, how our emotional regulation is disturbed, because any relationship, any conversation, any interaction there is one set of actions that happen, but there is most of those actions are driven by the emotions that we feel. In the brain, if you see, there's something called amygdala here. It's called the feeling center, which regulates based on our emotions, the actions, the hormones that gets produced and how the body reacts and so on. Right? And what you have seen when there is highly emotional charge and a very stressful state, is something called we undergo amygdala hijack. And typically we see something happening in your boss. You had a difficult conversations earlier. Next day you see the boss coming in a way that seems very, very threatening. It seems maybe because he or she is walking fast in a very hard very stern face. Now that scene, and when that person is walking, suddenly the fear may come out because of your past experience. The emotions get triggered. Now that emotion, if that triggered a sense of stress and safety, then that emotions will start developing what is called as amygdala hijack, because that stressful situation that is created, because at that point in time there is no rational thinking. In a typical normal state, what happens is there is a prefrontal cortex which actually helps us with a state of awareness, helps us to make a lot of decisions. There's a conscious brain. So in the conscious part of the brain, which is the thinking brain, it creates it's a part of the brain that is responsible for, it's called the CEO of the brain as well. Directs and makes decisions, does a lot of analytical thinking and so on. Now, typically in a normal state, the amygdala and any emotions is first driven through our cortical brain, the frontal cortex. It chooses, it decides, okay, whether that is the emotion and the input that I'm receiving, is it dangerous to me, or is it something that I need to take action? And then there is a normal reaction that happens when there is a connection between amygdala and the prefrontal cortex here. But when the amygdala hijack happens, when we don't have meditation, this connection is broken. So amygdala takes charge when there is a stressful situation and says, I feel threatened. The boss is running with a stern face. That means he or she, based on my yesterday's conversation, is going to either shout at me again or tell me that I cannot work here, and many things start coming up. And because those emotions are triggering further negative thoughts, there is something called a thinking feeling loop. A feeling of negativity will bring up more negative thoughts, and the more negative thoughts will further trigger our negative emotions. So this will break the connection between amygdala and prefrontal cortex. At that point in time, there is no rational reaction, and the only way is to have flight or fight response. And in many ways, it could be emotional outburst, crying, or it could be just running away, and whatever that, at that point in time, you choose to do. So there is a lot of unconscious reaction that happens. Many people say, when I'm angry, I don't know what I'm doing. This is exactly why it's happening. However, and this is where meditation is a great tool, and many of you been practicing meditation can vouch for it. suddenly you are able to look at with a little separation. Whenever that emotion seems to be this one, you are able to step back and look at it and say, what is happening? There is a gap between your so studies have shown is when people practice connection between remains intact even in a highly she may have a different challenge, may not even be thinking about your past interaction with him. Maybe they're coming to you for help. So your conscious part of the brain will wait and say, no, let me look at it, more rationally. And we give a more conscious response. So let's understand, friends, how our brain works in terms of, again, how do we move this and experience and learn from these. We spoke about a learning to doing to being. We learn first and then we implement and then we become that. When there is a awareness, and this is what talks about the awareness, when we have these amygdala and prefrontal cortex connections maintained, then there is a situational awareness maintained. Awareness stays. It no longer feels we are out of control. Now, when this awareness is there, then there is a lot of learning that can happen. So how do we learn? How do we change our state of being? How do we learn? How do we do? How do we implement it? And so that we can become that. If I want to have a great relationship with my family, now I have to change my behavior, change my responses, change the way I speak, the tone I speak. Everything has to change. Typically, neuroscience, if you see, the way we learn, every time we learn something new, a neural connection is formed. Two neurons gets connected, two or more neurons gets connected, and the information is stored. A typical human brain can have 100 trillion collections. We have 100 billion neurons, 100 trillion collections. And just to give a context of this, 150 crore HD movies can be stored. And that is the amount of neural connections. And that is not alone. I mean, studies have again shown with meditation, the number of neuron connections only increases. There is no decreasing. The neuroplasticity. So the way we learn, anything new information comes through our five senses, a neural connection is formed. And there is something called cells that fire together, wire together. The more we learn, if I repeat the same thing again and again, and we remember our childhood days, learning table, multiplication table, you repeat 100 times, then the neural connections for those suddenly becomes very, very, very strong. The cells that wire together, fire together. Cells that fire together, wire together. Cells firing together means cells becoming, neural connections becoming stronger and stronger. The more you learn the same thing again and again and again, it becomes stronger. So today, if I say 7 into 5, you can easily say 35 without any hesitation because it becomes part of his changed our state of being. Now, the way we learn just by reading, we learn there's few neural connections that are formed, and it becomes memory. But after some days, if you don't repeat it, we forget it. However, if you see an image, you watch video, we learn a lot more because there is a lot more things going on. We are able to connect many things. If you see a picture of somebody and then share their name, then we associate a lot more because the more neural connections are formed. So we retain that information for much longer. Now, even better is when we actually experience. When we experience with a lot of feelings, then those connections are much, much stronger. There is something called learning pyramid. You can look up the internet. It says we retain 9% of whatever that we are learning if we do it by doing it by ourselves, and then teaching it. While when we learn through text by just reading, we'll retain only 5% unless we keep repeating the same thing over and over and over again. But it again takes much, much longer. So what do we mean in terms of emotional regulation? How do we learn? How do we do things better? You read a book called Four Agreements, and where we say you do not take anything personally. You read it today, right? You read this book, Four Agreements. First thing that says is don't use Second, it says do not make any assumptions and do not put something against you or criticize your work. Now, your previous reaction would have been to defend yourself or argue, or it could be anything because you felt insulted or whatever. Now you read this book, and then the same interaction happens. With meditation, you first become aware. Okay, I'm getting frustrated. I'm again going back to my old pattern. And then, and you would have read that, don't take anything personally. So when that person criticizes you, now you listen and say, oh, maybe I don't have to take this personally. Maybe that person is doing from his or her perspective. Or maybe something is there. Let me be open and listen. After that, whether to take it or not is up to me. It's my choice. So why unnecessarily assume something, what that person is saying? So let me listen. Now, you change that reaction at that point in time because you're doing it. You're shifted your energy. You've shifted your way of your emotional response. Because first awareness, and then there's a knowledge that's come. Now that you have done it, now you feel great because now you're listening and nothing bothers you because that person is doing. It's your choice to accept it or not. Now you feel good about it. And we do this again. And suddenly, you'll start observing yourself that nothing is bothering you. No matter what happens, what other person says, we become stronger because we have changed our state of being. So moving to a different level of energy, different state of being, is first by learning, and learning is through not just by reading. Of course, reading is a great way, listening is a great tool, but then implementing it. We change, we take action on what we have learned. And suddenly we see the change. So learning to doing to being is a concept. Of course, this is relevant in every aspect. When we want to manifest, when we want to create something new, understanding your limiting beliefs and changing it. You read a new book about some very successful leader and get inspired, and then not just get inspired, implement at least one point of from that what you have read. It becomes deeply experiential. So meditation is helping us to experience now, not sometime in future. The entire my way of looking at somebody else changed after reading that Four Agreements book. And the moment I read and started implementing in every interaction, whenever I felt insulted, I recognized, because that awareness was coming, I would say, why am I taking personally? I don't need to take personally. Let me see what that person is saying. So friends, this concept, it's a very, very important concept. You can go back and, listen to this and keep exploring this as we take the journey into emotional intelligence this week. It changes our state significantly. Most of what we are creating again and again is based on our emotional charge that we carry in our interactions. When Patrici said samsare nirvanam, that means in this life, when we are surrounded by everyone, is where we can truly become enlightened. This is the reason, because there's so much learning that we can happen in our interactions. There's so much about ourselves that we learn. The more we become aware with meditation, the more we are learning with our interaction, the more we are interacting, then new aspects of us, because we realize we are attracting all those relationships based on what state we are in. So thank you, friends, for staying. And if there are any questions, we'll take. But this week, we will cover many of the aspects of emotional intelligence. The whole emotional intelligence, the 5 aspects of emotional intelligence was beautifully covered, developed by Daniel Goleman. We'll talk about it. And again, he came at this after his significant experience in meditation. There's a lot of studies, scientific study, which talks about how the emotional regulation happens with meditation. So thank you, and we'll meet back again. Any questions or anybody wants to share experience, we can take it now. Yes, Sagar, any announcement?
No, sir.
Okay, friends, thank you. And we will meet back again. The book Four Agreements is by Don Miguel Ruiz. Very, very simple book. Shama, Toltec master. You can look it up. Beautiful book, very simple to read, but very, very powerful. Okay, thank you. Sagar, playing a music. Close.
Yeah.